The landmark health care law we know as Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, faces the biggest test yet. The U.S. Supreme Court has heard arguments on whether subsidies that help Americans afford their premiums are legal. Healthcare coverage for close to 8 million Americans hangs on the balance. Jessica Stone explains.
The Constitution matters. Freedom, yes. Tyranny, no. We want Obamacare.
It's a court challenge that goes to the heart of how millions of Americans pay for their health care coverage. For a year now, those who signed up for the Affordable Care Act, also called Obamacare, through this U.S. government website, received subsidies to offset their health insurance premiums. Wednesday, the highest court in the United States heard arguments that those subsidies were only supposed to go to those who got their insurance through, quote, an exchange established by a state.
This case turns on the meaning of by. Does established by the state mean the same as established in a state or for a state or on behalf of a state? There's no ambiguity there.
But the U.S. tax agency, the IRS, did see ambiguity there and decided to interpret the law, applying federal subsidies to those who obtained health care coverage through both state exchanges and federal ones.
What the Internal Revenue Service has done isn't fair, it isn't right, and it isn't legal. We look forward to the Supreme Court's decision and hope that the court rules to protect our choice and the laws that govern our nation.
The Obama administration, congressional Democrats, and 22 states argue it is absurd to suggest that the U.S. Congress would have passed a law that undermines its goal to decrease the number of uninsured, not increase it. If the law is struck down, some 8 million Americans could lose their health care because they simply can't afford it without those subsidies.
If my tax credit were taken from me, I would return to living without an inhaler, suffering through excruciating back pain, and delaying other care desperately needed.
Terry Donald says the federal subsidy makes it possible for him to pay for his wife's cancer medications.
I really don't know what we would do if our subsidy was taken away. We would have to make a tough decision. Do we pay more than we can afford to get covered, or do we risk going uninsured again?
And Phil, we do not expect the Supreme Court to release its decision until June, but the one to watch today was Chief Justice John Roberts. You might remember the last time this law was challenged. He was the one vote that upheld the Obamacare law, and this time when he heard arguments, he barely said a word. I think they're just 3 or 4 words in 90 minutes of questions.
This is, I mean, especially for those in the United States, I mean, this is fascinating to watch politics and sort of reality all mixed together, but even for the folks who aren't from the United States as they're watching, they must think it's so dysfunctional. But we're talking about 8-9 million people who are currently benefiting from this program, that those benefits could stop. What's going to happen to these people?
Well, that's what these people are asking. I mean, there's definitely some backup plans that are being put together. For example, healthcare providers in certain areas of the country are trying to put together emergency clinics that could still take care of these people. Then there's the legislative solution. Members of the U.S. Congress, particularly Republicans, trying to come up with some alternative plans. And I want to put up one by 3 Senate Republicans who wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post. They say their new plan would provide transitional financial assistance, allow states to create better health insurance markets. And those are 2 bullet points taken from an op-ed that they wrote in the Washington Post, as I said, on Sunday. A group of House Republicans also working on a plan, a little more definition there. But really all we've seen from these proposals is broad outlines, no specifics, no pay-fors. And certainly with this Congress being Republican majority, we don't know at all whether the conservative wing of the Republican Party that hates this law, that has campaigned against this law, would even pass it. It's a pass a fix. We make it work. Why would they? It's very unlikely.
Maybe they changed the name of the law. Jessica, thank you very much.